Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Harriet, your training manager, and we are delighted to host you today for our April webinar. Right before we start, I'd like to introduce Prem, Sagar, and Lara, who are going to be our presenters of the afternoon. They'll be mainly focusing on a topic under development. They do have the details and would be happy to have them introduce themselves and also get into our webinar. So Prem and Lara, it's your turn. Please take the floor.
Hi everyone, I am Lara, Natural School Fellow from Italy, and I'm serving at the UNF.
Hi everyone, I am Prem Sagar, Atlas Core Fellow from Pakistan, and today we are co-presenting a webinar on the topic Comprehensive Development Framework. This is the emerging concept, and we will do this in two parts. So in the first part, Lara will explain a couple of the slides mentioning the social development issues, and then we have a very small video about the rights, and then I will explain the rest part of the presentation, which I captured the framework. So by going to our PowerPoint presentation, I would request Lara to continue.
Okay. So we are going to talk about the Comprehensive Development Framework. That is basically an approach by which countries can achieve more effective poverty reduction. The Comprehensive Development Framework emphasizes the interdependence of all elements of development: social, structural, human, governance, environmental, and economic. It encompasses a set of principles to guide development and poverty reduction, including the provision of external assistance. The principle of the Comprehensive Development Framework are an holistic long-term vision, the country ownership. I mean the fact that the country is in the lead, owning and directing the development agenda with partners. The country led the partnership and is very result focused. The Comprehensive Development Framework is essentially a process. It's not a blueprint to be applied to all countries, but in a uniform manner. It's a new way of doing business, a tool to achieve greater development in a world challenged by poverty and distress. Many development efforts, as you can see in our slide, has failed because they were focused with only an element of development, without any interdependently approach with the other element. A lack of comprehensive development approach, in fact, brings to a lack of functionality, adaptability, and sustainability. For example, we cannot address an issue with a generic solution to be applied worldwide because the context is different in any country. Addressing a country's development priorities requires an overall conceptual framework or vision that provides the direction, consistency, and focus essential to sustain any long-term process. We can talk about two different approaches of development, a need-based approach and a right needs approach. The need-based approach is particularly needed in the emergency situation. Let's think, for example, at a hurricane that destroys a region. Relief, health, food support should be the first aid to provide. The need-based approach should not be the regular approach in the post-emergency or in a development circumstances. It's true that it's very tangible and generally very welcomed by the community and has a huge effect in terms of visibility, but it only addresses the symptoms and not the issues. The right need approach addresses chronic problem in long terms, fixing in deep the issues. Achieving a balance among these dimensions with a realistic national development strategy and sustaining that balance over time are the key to success.
Thank you very much, Lara, for explaining the developmental issues and its root causes in a very brief way. And then also thank you for throwing light on two different approaches, which is need-based approach and the right-based approach. I would like to here share a very brief video which actually explain the what the individual rights have to everybody. And this also includes in the presentation, the URL is there, and it's also in the general reading for the reading material. So I will take you to the video.
I get the nervous.
Hello, Prem. Prem, please check your video properly. It's not showing. Prem? Hi, Prem. Could you kindly just continue with the slides? It seems you're having trouble with the video. Prem?
Thank you very much. And I just saw a couple of the comments which says video was not very much visible. So I go back to the slideshow and I'll continue. And then in the link there is a there are URLs available. So in case if you wanna see the video, it's available there. It talks about all the rights. So after discussing what the right-based and need-based approach in the comprehensive development framework, when we talk about the holistic development or the development from the different perspective, it has actually the balance of cognitive power and the mindset of a individual, of a society, of a community, as well as the leadership power. So the cognitive power and the mindset actually is an inside-out approach, which starts from one's own value and the belief system. If a individual or a family or a society value and the belief system are progressive and development oriented, then the society or the person's attitude towards the development, his or her motivation to the development, and his behavior will also be the development oriented. On the other hand, if the person or the society is not developed enough or not progressive enough, then again the leadership power also will have to work from the awareness raising and the knowledge part in order to actually emphasis on the value and the belief system. So if you see at the very bottom of this diagram, the value and the belief is actually the inside, the very deep rooted beliefs in everybody individual, which actually builds our attitude towards every action. And then we also seek the motivation from our value-based system. And then the behavioral change happens towards whatever actions we want to do. Here you can also see the intersection between the cognitive power and the mind leadership power, because leadership power also focuses through awareness raising, through knowledge and through skills on the behavioral change, which actually brings the extrinsic motivation or the external motivation, we can say. A society can start the development process by bottom up, by starting from the very basic, like the household level, and then village level, and then district level, and then state level. It can be bottom up, or it can be top down, coming from public policy or coming from the international aid agencies. In both situations, the cognitive power will actually result in the sustainability, functionality, and the adaptability, which we discuss. The lack of them actually brings the lack of comprehensive development. So whenever the approach is taken only superficially, just merely through the leadership power, it does not connect with the mindset or the cognitive, then it won't bring the sustainability in the long run. I will here particularly would like to share like a couple of the example of how our mindset actually influence our behavior towards the development. In some of the countries where the polio vaccination is considered as something coming from West, and it has some chemical elements which can actually reduce the fertility of a child. So the people who are kind of the conservative thinking, or their value and belief system is very much rigid towards that orientation, they tend to actually restrict their children from the very basic polio vaccination. So this is a very deep rooted among their value and the belief system, because they are not allowing their child to have the polio vaccination, which is actually turn non-motivation towards that. In this scenario, actually, the leadership power comes through the government and the state, which actually raise the awareness to the community mobilization process, and then they inculcate the knowledge among the people, and they provide the skills to lady health workers, to medical practitioners, so they can actually help intervening in the community and change their behavior, and also provide some incentives to motivate them, and also some knowledge and the reading stuff or the audiovisual stuff, so they can actually change their attitude towards the polio vaccination. It is, in this scenario, it is the top-down approach, and it comes from the leadership power. But ultimately, it has to change the value and the belief system through the different stages of knowledge, skills, and then behavior. Moving further, how it translates into the reality of the work, as we saw in the second slide of the presentation, there are like different issues: poverty, illiteracy, poor physical and mental condition, violence, exploitation, neglect, or any other issue which we take. The comprehensive approach will actually bring the more results. If you focus on communities only poverty and then don't focus on illiteracy, it will actually lack comprehensive development approach. So in this slide, I have just taken the 4 examples of the 4 different sectors, but we can include like as many sectors as we want. So the 4 sector I have included as a very basic right of everybody, which we saw in the video as well. The right of protection, right of life, right of being safe. Everybody has the right. Similarly, quality education, or health, or economic opportunities. These are the rights of every individual. So if we focus, we will have to focus the all aspects of the development, not only health. If we only focus the health, then all the other 3 elements, which are like protection, economic empowerment, and education, or the empowerment, will be unaddressed. Similarly, if we only focus on education, then other element will be overshadowed. So there should be the balance, and there should be the inclusion of all aspects. Here I have just taken the 4 examples, but we can take as many as relevant to the context. And then, as I mentioned, the comprehensive development also involves the multiple layer of the stakeholders, which starts from the household, and it moves towards the community, and then district, then state level, and then even the beyond state, like the federal level and international level. I'll just give you an example. Education as an issue. If we talk that generally is perceived that this is the responsibility of a state. Of course, this is the responsibility of state. State is the primary stakeholder. But there are the roles and responsibility at every level. The state is responsible for policy, the state is responsible for resource allocation, the state is responsible for designing strategies. But then there are second level of responsibility which comes to the district level, which is the administration and management of all these resources. And then in a given district, there are more than, for example, 100 schools. Then each community have their own role of monitoring the proper construction of school, teachers' absenteeism, students' enrollment, quality of learning, everything. This comes to the community level responsibility. And then certainly there are some household level responsibility, like parents are responsible to send their children to school. So here also in this slide, it also starts from the inside out. Means the responsibility starts with the household level. A parent, a father, a mother should be conscious enough to send their children to school, to vaccinate, protect their children. And then second layer comes for the community level. Community should create the development friendly environment in the village or in the society. And then district administration is the next layer. Obviously the administration, the effective management, the supervision comes at this level. Then state level, all the provincial level subjects are actually addressed in this level. So here you can see the different level of responsibility, starting from the integration, then cooperation, then implementation, and then strategy design. These all go to the different level. A parent cannot do the strategy, and a state cannot send a child to school forcefully. So it is actually the vice versa thing. Here we also look the other actors, since the every context is different. So a aid agency cannot actually bring a concept of African region to the Latin America or the Asian region, because the context, the reality are different. So the actors which actually involves here, which are the outside of this scope, which are on the other hand, there are government stakeholders, which are federal government, national media, technocrats, and the civil society. And on the other hand, there are aid agencies like USAID, UKAID, Australian Aid, DFID, UN, and then international media, which includes like the overall beyond the national media, which brings the issues in limelight. For example, Ebola. Ebola came into international media, and then it was like worldwide highlighted, and then it took a lot of attention to the aid agencies and every stakeholder. Geographic or cause-based alliances, for example, SAARC Union or OAI or Girls Not Bride, it's a cause-based alliances. So these are the different actors. And the factors which also involved in this whole framework are the effective governance, and then efficient policies, and then functional, adaptable, and sustainable program. Whatever the development programs are designed, it should be functional. These should be kind of not theoretical in a way. It should be practicable. It should be feasible. It should be result oriented. It should not only focus on the activities, instead it should focus on the outcomes. Second thing is that these should be adaptable. Here adaptable means it should adapt according to the technology, it should adapt according to the economic level of the people, it should adapt according to the social and culture of the people. And then sustainable. If we talk about any program, any education program, a result of investment in education comes after a generation. It doesn't come in 1 or 2 years. Yes, you can set some milestones, but still, if the program is 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, it won't bring those desired results which we are looking after. And the final and the foremost is the comprehensive approach. If we only focus on health but not focus on education, it will not address the problem. On the other hand, there are a number of the declaration, treaty, and convention which are only signed, but then international aid agencies should also monitor them and also influence the government to report on those conventions, on the treaties, that what is the situation. There should also be the bilateral and collateral agreements about the development approaches. And then, of course, the strategies, effective strategies, and the resource allocation is the most important part of that. Here are some of the further reading resources which I include, especially the first one will bring a lot of information about the difference between the need-based and the right-based approach. Second, I refer to the World Bank resource, which actually bring this comprehensive development framework. And then there's a lot of discussion in UN according to the right-based approach also. And then definitely United Nations Declaration for Human Rights, which is UDHR, which is a very guiding principle for all that development efforts. So this is all the sharing which we had today. And now I will go and see if we have some questions.
Prem and Lara, thank you so much for your presentation. Just cross-check your Q&A, and if we do not have any questions, just give a very brief summary of your presentation and we can call it off. Thanks.
We are checking the question and answer tab. I don't see the questions. There are some queries regarding the video was not shown, so apologize for that, and the link is mentioned there.
Okay.
Brief summary about this whole presentation is that the development, when we say the development, it's actually the holistic concept, which we tried to present here. That we cannot focus on only one issue and we can leave other issue, because when we talk about rights are indivisible. Indivisible means you cannot divide. You cannot say, okay, I'm giving 5 rights and I am not giving other 5 rights, because education is linked with health. Health is linked with mental well-being. Mental well-being is linked with economic empowerment. So, you know, every development aspect is linked with other, and similarly, every issue is linked with other. Poverty leads to illiteracy. Illiteracy leads to poor health condition. Poor health condition leads to violence. Violence leads to lack of economic empowerment, and lack of it increases the gender-based violence or other kind of violence. So issues are also connected and linked with each other. Similarly, the solutions are also linked with each other. So if we focus on the comprehensive approach, it will actually maximize our developmental approach, and that is actually the discussion which is happening in all the international aid agencies around the globe, and that's how all the even governments are working in that direction. So this framework is actually bringing the conceptual as well as the practical understanding, and then there are some further readings which our friends can refer to. And in that, after even that webinar, if there are some questions, feel free to email me or Lara for further discussion around that. And thank you very much for having us here, and thanks for listening. Bye.
Well, thanks, Prem and Lara. Thank you.